Is so here it is. Here we go. Here we go again. Just a short little session. Just the decision to do it. Just a few minutes ago. So we're touching base again with our friends in on Arise TV. To document really the goings on in that space. So we're going to go immediately to that because this is going to be the first session that they are having after Tinubu was inaugurated. How are they digesting the Tinubu administration so far? Friendly neighborhood Arise TV personalities. So let's now see now what they have to say. So let's bring this up. So yeah, so there it is. Let's kick it off then. They're speaking especially to the fuel subsidy space. So now let's now see how they are reacting to that.
That day I saw your chief captain in the village. Chief, please, my dear people, official announcement. I don't know why you have not.
And by the way, it doesn't look as though Ruben Abati is there. So I'm going to skip through whatever Rufai Hussein has to say, and then we pick up the headlines from
Ojezienu of Umukwa.
Correct. Well, all right, Rufai. Good morning to you, viewers. Here are some of the stories that are trending across the globe.
In the United States, President Joe Biden congratulated Nigeria's president, but on U.S. strengthening ties with growth, advancing security. Biden also expressed optimism for Nigeria, stating that as Africa's largest democracy and economy, elected leaders owe it to their people to show that democracy can deliver their needs and that Nigeria's success is the world's success. While in the United Kingdom, King Charles III also congratulated President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Vice President Kashim Shettima on their inauguration. In a message to Tinubu, the monarch said he looks forward to building an even stronger friendship between Nigeria and the United Kingdom as Commonwealth partners with a deep bond during his tenure as president. In Nigeria, former President Muhammadu Buhari received a heroic.
It's really amazing the level of crowd that Buhari is still commanding. Hopefully, he takes himself out of the spotlight, and I know he will, because he's not that sort of a personality that wants to be hogging the spotlight and try to draw attention from the now new president. So that's Buhari going back home. It looks as though they borrowed him the presidential jet still, which of course is not his personal property, as you know.
Welcome on Monday on his return to Daura, his hometown in Katsina State, after handing over the mantle of Nigeria's leadership to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Buhari was received at the Umaru Musa Yar'Adua International Airport by the newly sworn-in governor of the state, Diko Rada, and his deputy, as well as the former Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, among other dignitaries. Residents in Daura also trooped out in their numbers to welcome.
It is quite instructive that Abubakar Malami is part of the party that went to welcome Buhari to Daura. So Abubakar Malami, one of the most culpable functionaries of Buhari's administration, is of all of the atrocities that has been committed by the Buhari administration, Abubakar Malami's hands and image, they're in a bit, at least a good 80% of the atrocities committed there. So he now has to have a place to hide his immunity, and is hiding his immunity, is seeking his protection under the Buhari name. You recall, of course, that he married one of Buhari's daughter, and there he is welcoming Buhari back to Daura. Rotimi Amechi is not there. Fachola is not there, of course. They were all ministers. So that then speaks to then this guy now seeking to find his protection under the banner of Buhari.
The ex-president. In Turkey, President Recep Tayyip Erdogan appealed for national unity on Monday after winning a historic runoff election that extended 2 decades of his transformative rule until 2028. The 69-year-old overcame Turkey's worst economic crisis in a generation and the most powerful opposition alliance to ever face his Islamic-rooted party on his way to his toughest election win. Streets erupted in car-honking jubilation and tributes poured in from across the world as the president led a sea of supporters in celebratory song outside his presidential palace in Ankara. Finally, on our entertainment, multiple Grammy Award-winning artists.
Oh, okay, I'm going to skip through that because I'm not sure that anything Beyonce is anything we want to. So let me skip through this part.
11. Look at that. She's a superstar.
Superstar lady.
Well, all right. Let's begin what's trending. With reactions trailing the inauguration of the 16th president of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and Vice President Kashim Shettima yesterday at the Eagle Square in Abuja. Tinubu took the oath of office after he was declared president by Justice Kayode Ariwola, taking over from former President Muhammadu Buhari, who spent 8 years in power, leaving behind a track record of successes as well as shortcomings. Tinubu, during his inaugural speech, highlighted a couple of changes that Nigerians should expect to see in the coming weeks. But the one that caught the attention of many Nigerians was the removal of fuel subsidy. Well, after his speech,
Okay. So they are addressing the fuel subsidy as a first item, and that's really why I'm doing this video, because I'm still of the view that that announcement might well be a misstep, and Tinubu might look to reverse that position. But let's see how Arise TV is digesting it.
Many fuel stations across the country shut down operations, resulting in long queues. Let's take some reactions. This is from Michael, who wrote, "Fuel subsidy removal has not come into effect officially. Tinubu just made the announcement that it will be removed. But fueling stations have stopped selling fuel. They are hoarding their remaining stock so they can sell at the new rate of 500 naira or above. Nigerians greed." Well, Poja wrote, "Filling stations have already changed their meters and some have stopped selling with just announcement without effect yet. The fuel they bought at regular price is now being sold at a higher rate. This is not about Tinubu. Greed has eaten deep into our balls as Nigerians." I mean, this is the story out there. I mean, there is a video showing that there are some fueling stations that have actually increased their price to about, I mean, I believe this is about 600.
So look at that on your screen. That's an ungodly art right there. Something that price there that you're looking at, 600 naira on the screen, that as early as a day, 2 days before was 180. So now what they are inviting is that the everyday Nigerian should be able to absorb that differential without an increment in salary and with income already stretched to the end of its elasticity. So now this now is where the problem is. They say Nigerians complain a lot, but then of course, if you are going from something you paid 184 a day before to paying 600 pounds for it now, an essential thing that you cannot not buy. So where is the insulation is the thing. Where is the protection for the people?
Naira per liter. I mean, this is quite absurd. But I am glad that NNPC has come out to say that we do have enough fuel in stock and that fuel stations should stop hiking up their price. But I mean, this is the result of that speech. A lot of people have condemned it because they thought it was just too abrupt the way Tinubu had announced the fuel subsidy removal.
So that's exactly the point. Because the argument is not against the removal of the subsidy. We've all heard the debate and all come to the acceptance that the fuel subsidy has to be removed. But it's just the manner of making just a casual announcement at our inauguration speech, just to state categorically without auditing how the market would react to it. The manner that announcement was made was where the difficulty is and still is.
I mean, this is the effect. I know a lot of people have talked about the market effect. This is what we are seeing at this point. Really quickly.
Yeah, very quickly. So when you look at his speech or his statement, a number of people, eyes had been on the president, the incoming government, as to whether they would bite the bullet and remove subsidy. So that was a good thing to say. However, the way in which and the manner in which he said it perhaps was what the issue is, or what the issue is, because there's no doubt IMF has said it, World Bank has said it, many economic analysts have said it, that we need to remove subsidy and divert that fund to other developmental projects or infrastructure in the country. But the fact that he said it, there was a ripple effect from that, which is negative, especially for Nigerians. The night before, there were already small queues because marketers perhaps had anticipated that this would be part of his inaugural speech. By the morning of Monday, this queues had become a bit longer. But when the speech was done, the queues elongated. And then now, beyond the queues on the road, I hear that almost 3 times the usual cost. Reports.
Okay, so that's the spillover effect of these things, which we were trying to explain in yesterday. The cost of transport has gone up by 200 to 300%, and of course, you need transportation to ferry goods to the market. So that cost now passed on to the cost of goods, and then it just cascades. It's like a domino effect, isn't it? So this is the thing now. It is not a well managed. Yes, the subsidy should go, but that announcement just at the inauguration to say all subsidy has come to an end, that wasn't how to do it. And this is what a lot of people feel.
Right now, coming to me says that some people from Ajah to Lekki, they're paying 1,000 naira, where it was 300 naira. So you can already begin to see the effect of that. So good policy, but not well delivered. Yes. It should have been tactically done, and perhaps some things should have already been put in place. Now, let me come to the marketers, because we have to talk.
All right, before she goes on to the marketers, that's exactly what a lot of people feel, that a lot of palliative measures needed to have been in place before that announcement was made, but it wasn't. So you are saying just yank the plaster off the wound, but then if you just yank the plaster off the wound, then of course you might well reopen that wound, and it looks as though now that wound are reopened.
About that, so they've announced the fuel subsidy going. How does that immediately impact on the price of fuel, as we see on that pump? Yes. Why should it go up to 600 naira immediately? Did they buy the new unsubsidized fuel? Why is it being passed on to people? Why are some marketers deliberately hoarding fuel? Because Mele Kyari, as was said in previous fuel scarcity situations, down for 1 month.
All right, so that's the naive narrative that we have been hearing a lot over the course of whatever. So let me use a simple, basic example to explain why the oil marketers would have spiked up their prices. So let's say you're a trader and you buy stock worth 100 naira each, and you buy 1,000 of them. So now you buy 1,000 of them and then you take them to your store. So now a few days later, your suppliers, they tell you that those items that you bought for 100 naira each and you bought 1,000 of, that's the next time you come to buy, you will be buying at 300 naira. So now you still have quite a few of those items that you bought. So what do you then do? Do you continue to sell them at 110 naira, which your markup was 10%? And if you do continue to sell at 110 naira, when you then finish selling those and you get your whatever amount of money that you are getting plus 10%, when you go back to the marketers who have now put up their prices by 300%, how do you then insulate the difference between how much you bought, your markup, and now the current price? Who carries the weight of that? Is it your business or is it your customers? So that's where it is. So this naive, simple-minded explanation by this your Mario, it doesn't really hold water.
Yes.
What is the problem? Why are they hoarding? I hope this would be investigated and that Nigerians do not become Nigerians' own problem, so that we see that it's not just the government that we point fingers at. Even the people who are marketing the fuels, the people who are selling, ought to also be brought to, be questioned as to why this immediate rise in cost.
That is the actual point, Ayo.
So answering your question, there's something called the pass-through effect. Once the president said what he said yesterday, a lot of things happened. In the depots, they heard that message. The interpretation is the price flipped in the depots. And also the cost at which they collect from them for charges of the truck, the price flipped. Probably when a 33,000 liter truck dispenses everything he's got, he has to go and queue up in the depot again. The moment he dispenses all that's in his truck, the dynamics has changed, irrespective of what they had in their tank farms before. So the dynamics change across board, and it's the ripple effect that happens through the marketers. And that's why they react that way. It is also the pass-through effect that happens to the cost of commodities. And that's why I kept on insisting, for you to make decisions, there must be an econometric outlook on the pass-through effects, where you weigh the variables.
This guy is a real annoyance. This guy is a real annoyance, this Rufai Oseni, an expert on everything, always trying to use newfangled technical words that he has just rehearsed prior to the session, walk through the dynamics and all of that. But ignoring the nuisance that he is, there's substance in what he's saying. Because as the simplistic example that I said, that I used, you buy something for 100 naira, and you buy a bunch of them, your suppliers tell you that the next time you come, it'll be 300 naira. So then you pass those differentials on to your customers. It's as basic as that.
It's always a case of a cascading domino effect once that happens. So what should be done now? You see, the announcement he made, it would have been different if he even made the announcement and he had a subsidy removal plan. Whatever he's going to do now, he must be able to have a plan of how he's going to navigate this. Because the announcement has caused a ripple. And that's what we advise. Even if it's an economic kitchen cabinet, you should have them working around the clock as we speak today. They're going to do three things. Number one, they're going to diffuse the effect in the media through calculated attempts. So Mr. Dele Alake needs to start work now. The next couple...
all right. So what Rufai is actually inviting is that they hold that position, but then they try and reorient the public into it. But it's not a matter of orientation. It's a matter of economics. It's a matter of simple affordability. You cannot orient people into something that they cannot afford. And the Nigerian mass, they cannot insulate a 200-300% increment in the price of petrol. It's as basic as that. I don't think even Dele Alake has those magic tricks in his box.
Of press release is very critical to this issue. So he needs to start his work now, write those press releases incumbent on the advisory of the economic team, put up a plan, show a pathway to your resolution of this. Then try to stabilize market. Then the fourth layer is also like they have said that they have enough. But NNPC will always say they have enough in times of crisis, but it doesn't affect the market reality. So now this real, put it out there, sort of like stabilize things and ensure that going
for all of these newfangled things, there are certain things that we're not giving consideration to. What we're not giving consideration to is the fact that Dangote has already told us that he will start supplying in July. So the buffer period between now and July is approximately 6 weeks. So the country can afford to manage that petroleum space for a 6 weeks period to land onto the Dangote supplies, which will still be increased in price, but not this sharp 300% rise, which is an artificial rise as a result of hoarding. So I'm not quite sure if we're being played a three-dimensional chess sort of thing, where they spike it up, and then when Dangote comes in, it will come in at a higher level previous than what you were buying before, but you are so relieved to buy it even cheaper than the 300-400% markup that you pay any price. But whatever the game is, this looks like a misstep by Bola Tinubu.
Forward, key policy pronouncements like that have a calculated, well thought out plan. I think that's the first place for crisis management. Will that totally manage a crisis? It might, it might not.
All right.
But also take it in good faith and take the reaction. So there has to be what they will say should be dependent on the advice of the economic team.
All right. Success. I know Growl's speech was on point. He hit the.
All right. So that was the fuel subsidy space. That was really the space that I wanted to document, really. So I'll just listen a little bit to whatever they have to say regarding the inauguration, and then I'll wrap it up there. But just as I was saying in previous sessions, a misstep by Tinubu, that fuel subsidy. But let's listen a bit more, and then we'll wrap it up.
Right notes. But I don't know if you saw some of those videos, if we can pull some up. I believe there was also a journalist that was stopped. Did you see that? Did you investigate? Do you know who that journalist was?
I tried to even look at his face to see if he was identified. They haven't said anything
yes,
yet.
But that video was trending also on social media because he breached security.
Well, see, he was accredited.
Yes,
he had the badge on. So how could he? What could have happened?
Yes.
That was a serious security.
So, I mean, people were talking about how he staggered on stage, but I think that's neither here nor there. I thought that, the whole process was well done. Kudos to President Buhari. Well, over to Kano State now, where the newly elected governor.
All right. I thought they would be somewhat critical of the inauguration. So it looks as though now there's a change in tonality, even without Abati being there to caution them. It looks as though then there's been a change somewhat in tonality on Arise TV. So the penny has dropped for all of their push and everything. Tinubu now their president, 24 hours their president now. So we'll continue to monitor their Arise space, paying particular attention, of course, to Rufai Oseni, who seems to be the one that's gone rogue within that space. But yes, we wanted to document how they were digesting the fuel subsidy space. So that's what we have done. Somewhat of a mixed bag of a reaction on Arise TV. But really, where everybody landed ultimately is that it could have been handled better, and the inauguration speech was not the space for that. Come share thought about all this with me in the comment section. So I'll leave it here, carry the conversation on with you in the comment section, but here I say peace.